Evening, and welcome to this edition of As Cliff Recalls, Righteous Gaming. The date is the 30th of August, 2024. Title, As Was Written on September 15th, 2020.
It doesn't look like anyone's gone up ahead.
Last night I woke up and thought to myself, is this really as good as games will ever be or can be? They all have the elements for what makes up a quality game. Visuals, sound, manageable controls, and stories to think about. But sometimes the presentation levels heavier on the side of value and aesthetic, even though the overall quality of the game's functionality comes somewhat lacking. Visuals are great, and they are only getting better as technology advances. But what about games that go beyond what has been done visually? What about game experiences that have that extra look that hasn't been seen in any other game? Sometimes visuals are not just about how realistic graphics may appear or move on screen. Sometimes it's about the way those images blend together with a formula and create something that is not just unique, but something that people can relate to in a psychological sense, one that develops on a specific concept or idea.
I mean, he's the one who did it. But it's more like
As sound goes, we have seen more composers bring games to life through music in ways we never thought possible. This trend started with RPGs, such as Final Fantasy VII specifically, but rarely are we seeing music set an entire theme is done with games like Uncharted and the Metal Gear Solid series. And have we forgotten that great sound is not just about having a great musical soundtrack? It is also about knowing where the sounds are coming from and hearing where those sounds are directed. I remember playing games on PS1, such as Medal of Honor, on my stereo system, and every sound was clean and multi-directional. Now, they're mostly just left and right and very bassy. I should be able to hear sounds from my rear as well as I hear them from my sides. I have also noticed a recurring trend in the way 3D games handle controls. Unlike classic games from the 80s and early 90s, games have become more cinematic and have chosen to change direction from the snappy controls of the past. In fact, the closest classic title to today's standard would have to be Prince of Persia. This is because greater animations integrated into a character's control enhances the illusion of lifelike actions, something as dramatic as a favorite comic book or epic movie. In Galaga, shooting down the characters on screen is almost effortless because there is no recoil or ammo limitation. In shooting games like Call of Duty or survival shooters such as Resident Evil 2 Remake, you may have not only recoil, but also a wobbling reticle that you must wait for in order to get the perfect shot. These sort of delays play out in almost every game of today, where a character may bend down to jump or charge before launching an attack. The effect is unique and beautiful, though the challenge of timing is in every new game will have its limit, especially when most enemies attack without pause and move around much swifter than the player can. Lack of control can really rack up the game's difficulty factor, even if an opponent is slower and stronger. And while it's sometimes fun to strive to win, too much delay can become annoying and repetitive. It is not always the player at fault for losing, but the viciously aggressive AI that can freely dominate the player's effort, limited by chance. Storytelling, I think, is a bonus within itself, and is not really necessary to make a great game. A story can be predictable, odd, or convoluted, but as long as an audience can make sense of it, the addition of one in a game is still a plus. Hi, Rapper the Rapper? Yeah. Thanks for joining me on this edition of As Cliff Recalls, Righteous Gaming. Please tune in again.